Now is Fox News contributor Liz Peek. Liz, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
Good. So, when we think about everything that's happening with the tariffs, what are your expectations of what's going to happen this week, and what are the consequences of all of it?
I think the Supreme Court has shown that it actually is pretty supportive of the executive branch and the powers of the executive branch. So I don't think that they'll strike down these tariffs, but I don't know that, obviously. And we'll find out pretty soon. They're supposed to give a decision on the 5th. I think the good news is there are other ways that the president can impose tariffs if these are eliminated. These are particularly broad, and other kinds of remedies, other approaches to imposing tariffs on various countries are much more prescriptive. They require more studies done by the government. They're shorter in duration, et cetera. But if needs be, my guess is that the president and Scott Bessent and his team will come up with other approaches to exact the same kinds of issues. I think that the risk here is that these tariffs are working for this president. He's using them to try to solve, for example, the Russian war with Ukraine.
Right.
He's trying to solve the problems we have with China, which are pretty profound. And he's also just trying, let's kind of go back to the basics here, trying to level the playing field for American companies, bring more manufacturing back to the United States. And I think all of that is showing promise. I mean, there are a lot of countries and companies that have talked about more investment in the United States. It's really hundreds of billions, if not indeed trillions of dollars now that has been committed to that.
Right.
That's incredibly good news for the United States. So I think it would really be unfortunate if this changes. We'll see. I don't know.
Well, Liz, I think the one thing that I really like about it is it really sparked American companies focusing on investing in reshoring manufacturing here back in the States. And it also reinforced foreign nations investing money into this country to manufacture their own goods. So there's clearly a lot of benefit for that. When you think about the things that can be done, obviously Congress can solidify the tariffs. You can go to 232 or 301, and you could scale them back. I think the real question for businesses is what happens if it is struck down? Where does all the money go, and what happens tomorrow?
Well, I think if they're declared illegal, the businesses are going to have to refund to customers the money that has been charged for tariffs. And I think that's going to be kind of a mess. Look, it can get done. I mean, it's not impossible that all those funds could be traced, but we're talking hundreds of billions of dollars. And I think it would be very, very difficult. So the Supreme Court has not wanted in many instances to sort of rock the boat. This would really be rocking the boat. So I think probably they'll avoid doing that. But Marcus, I agree with you. I think the whole idea that we could bring manufacturing home is incredibly valuable. And as compared to in the past when our high labor rates were a big issue, now we're not really talking about as many employees, lower rates of utilization of labor. I think it's all doable, and I hope it works.
Yeah, particularly.
Well, the Congress has the power to tax, not the executive branch, number one. And the International Emergency Powers Act that he used to apply these tariffs does not mention tariffs. So it might be a double knockout.
Great.
It
Thank
could
you,
be,
Liz.
Dagan.